Hello there, and welcome back. This is season 1, episode 8. So, what is it like being on the inside of being a caregiver? Well, basically, this is what it's like. This is what my life looks like. I wake up every day. Sometimes I wake up peacefully, or other times I wake up to my son's feeding pump beeping at me, or the security camera rings me and lets me know that he's awake, or he's just crying out and I can hear him, or the dog is barking, but one of those things. It's usually a little bit tumultuous. It's usually not very peaceful. It's like, bah, you're awake, go. And it's very hard because I have very bad fibromyalgia. So when I wake up in the morning, I am stiff and in pain. And it's a little rocky, even mentally sometimes, right? It's like, but I get downstairs quickly and I turn off any alarms. I unhook the feeding bag from the prior night. If Daniel's awake, I change his diaper, change any wet clothes and bedding. I tuck him back in, and if he's asleep, I will usually try to go grab some coffee, or John will bring it to me. He's very good at bringing me my coffee, which is very sweet. And I will try to sneak in some meditation time, usually first thing in the morning. That's my ritual. I use Insight Timer, which is an app that is on my phone for meditation. And I am a premium member there. So I do the courses too and listen to talks. And I haven't done coaching yet, but right now I'm just engaged in many of the courses. I love it very much. So sometimes I'll also take the dogs out first before I even sit down because, you gotta take the dogs out. Um, Most days, if Daniel has a nurse coming in, they will show up to the house somewhere between 7:30 and 8, which is fine because that's about when he would wake up typically. Uh, I have found that meditating first thing in the morning really helps me to set intentions for the day with a very calm mind. My days are typically a jumble of zigs and zags. And what I mean is the nurse may need my help or have a question, or something might happen, or somebody might call, or the phone might ring from one of the many doctor's offices about something. I might have to stop everything if he's having a meltdown or a seizure. Sometimes I have to deal with state related things like his caseworker for his we call developmental services might call to go over something with me, whatever. But it's just like zigzag, zigzag, right? When when Daniel is in a good calm space with his nurse, I usually try to take some time to either uh, exercise, take a walk, maybe shower, put on some makeup, do my hair, like feel good things. And then I sneak away to my podcast room and I will dig into writing some descriptions for episodes, working on recording, working on learning how to record, learning about podcasting, or I'll spend time uploading my YouTube videos because I'm pretty much a daily vlogger. So I like to get some videos uploaded every week. It is always my intention to develop a schedule every morning, and I call it an adapted day schedule every single morning. And I kind of build into the programming of my brain, multiple redirects will happen, right? Just be prepared. And it sounds a little chaotic, but that's my acceptance of my life. People who are also in my shoes will probably resonate with the concept of never knowing which way the day is going to go. You might have plans to do something, or you may have committed to something, but 70, 80% of the time, somewhere in your day, you're going to have to cancel or redirect or change your plans, or you're just going to be late for something, or things are going to get messed up. It happens every day. I worry a lot about Daniel having a breakthrough seizure or aspirating. And when the nurse reports to me that his temperature has gone high, his heart rate is up, I get this like instant anxiety. It's just a thing. So I'm learning how to accept and acknowledge what is happening in each moment without judgment because it can really break down a person. Like after a while, you can't respond to everything with that like anxious, high strung kind of a attitude. So staying as in the moment as possible and looking at things calmly is just more helpful. Um, so in my life, inside this world, what is it like? That was my question, right? I want to talk about a little bit. I'm responsible for the following things, not in any particular order of importance. They all are, but this is what I came up with. Being present for all emergencies, directing Daniel's daily caregiving and responsibilities by working with his doctors and the nursing agency to develop a plan of care. This is the same with any therapies that he might be receiving at the time. I hire the staff for his individualized day program, which is basically in lieu of him going out to adult programs because we ruled that out for him. So we bring in what we call individualized day program workers. They come in and they're not caregivers, they're just companionship and doing activities and providing him with resources to have sort of a day program at the house. So I hire them and I do all their timesheets, approvals, applications, all that stuff. And I keep track of doctor's appointments and clinics for these are some of them: neurology, neurosurgery, pulmonology, gastroenterology, physiatry, dermatology, his eye doctors, his primary care appointments, his dentist appointments, etc. I bring Daniel periodically to have his AFOs, which are his orthotics that we use on his feet, to be adjusted and make sure that they fit right and they're not hurting him. Uh, I manage and order repairs and supplies for his home equipment that we have, and also manage and make sure that he has what he needs. If not, then order it and get in touch with the right people. But things that he needs, such as his wheelchair repairs, his stander, making sure it's adjusted right. He has a ceiling track lift and certain slings that lift him and transfer him from his bed into his chair, from his chair into his this, from his chair into his recliner or his stander, that kind of thing. He has a bath chair and bathing apparatus, and he has a couple of assistive devices. One of them is his new Tobii Dynavox computer, which has a stand, and it's a device that he uses his eyes to make choices with. He also has an iPad that he does very well with. But basically, all of the home maintenance um, and Daniel stuff, all of Daniel's maintenance stuff, I manage all of it. Along with that, I manage and order a large amount of prescription medication, supplies for the feeding pump, food for the feeding pump, the suction machine, and supplies for that, for the nebulizer that he gets every day, his oxygen, making sure his chest, he has a chest percussion vest, keeps his airway open, that requires maintenance, and getting all the supplies he needs for all of his daily care and incontinence care. Um, there's a lot of supplies that have to be purchased. So I have to step in and drop everything when the nurses leave. Then I'm like on duty. And until I can afford to remodel Daniel's bathroom, I have to do all of the showering of Daniel with John, which entails us lifting him in his chair over a 4-inch or so lift. Like there's a lip on our shower, so it's kind of a mess in there. I make sure he has clothes and shoes and socks and drool bibs, things that we put around his neck. I keep a documented journal of his condition when I'm there, so that when the nurses do come back, I can tell them if anything has happened with his medical health situation. Any change in condition, I have to keep track of it and document it. And so I do all his vitals and that kind of thing and do his weight. We have a special kind of a scale that attaches to the ceiling. I am also Daniel's source of learning and entertaining, of calm and relaxation. I make sure he has lights and music in his room to soothe him. He loves music. I keep his iPad updated with apps and games that he will enjoy, and I'm always looking for more. I have bins and bins of sensory toys and tools for, stimulating. I have all kinds of Play-Doh and sand and oozy, goopy stuff and things that he enjoys. Um, Lots of toys. I make sure he stands, which is really good for his body. Um, but it's tricky for one person to do by themselves because you have to use a lift to get him in the stander, and he's pretty tall now, so it's a little tricky. I make sure that he spends time doing a variety of things. We can go for walks, we go for drives out into the community. He might visit the mall or go to a movie or just go to CVS with me or go to Target. He loves Target. He's like really into Target. As long as COVID's not too bad, then, we'll sneak out and do some things. And we work on our art shop together. We have a little art shop, and that's something that I've really developed into our little vocation for him, where I can show him what we're doing and how we're selling it, and I can read the reviews to him that people write. That kind, and it's pretty cool. If if we make a little profit here and there, it's not that much money, but we use it to purchase more art supplies. So, yeah, I actually turned most of my dining room into an arts and crafts area, mostly because he's the only one really home all the time now. So essentially, everything Daniel equals me. Everything. So I'm like his windows to the world, his doors to learning, his everything, right? Entertainment, comfort, care, warmth, nutrition, health. It's all a big job because he is very fragile and anything can go wrong if the everything has to be sort of going along at a really kind of smooth rate, and you pull one thing out, like you don't give one of the medications, he can go into seizing and that kind of thing. So you have to make sure everything is on track and we don't forget to call and order and schedule and get the insurance information in where we need to, and set up plans and do paperwork and do the paperwork for the state, for the DDS and this DSS, and Department of Developmental Services, which handles one side of things, and then there's the Department of Social Services, which handles another side of things. Social DSS pertains to his health insurance, Medicaid. It's a lot of paperwork, and some of it is online, which is great, but everything seems to be very cumbersome. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast, and yeah, it can make you crazy because, like, for someone like me, sitting down with a 3-inch pile of papers is just excruciating. Because I would much rather be doing anything else, but I have to do what I have to do, right? So there's all of that, and taking care of my beautiful son here in my house, right? So then there's my home, my casa, my estate, right here in Connecticut. So my husband works full time. He's an amazing man, and he works very hard. And so it kind of developed over time that since I'm always around and I have a flexible life, that I would kind of handle things, and most of the time it's pretty easy. Sometimes it just feels like too much and I start to lose my mind. But so so people ask me sometimes, I've had family members, uh, "Oh, you have a nurse, so what do you do with your time?" I'm like, "Boy, you really, really haven't spent much time with me, have you?" No idea. Oh, my days are full. They really are. Thank God for the nurses. I don't know. I would be unshowered and living in a hole somewhere. Like, I wouldn't have any time to, like, care for myself. So I also recently outsourced cleaning my house. I hired a housekeeper this year. She comes every 2 weeks because I finally was like, "I can't do it." Mm, it's not even that great of a house. It's not that big, but it's still a big job. So that has been a godsend and worth every penny. I also order all of my groceries now via Instacart because during COVID, I realized what it was and that it was a thing, and then I started using it, and You have to manage Instacart very closely sometimes because, you need to make sure you're on top of it, but it's much better for me. I would much rather have somebody bring my groceries to my door than me go to the store. I don't really enjoy going to the store. Uh, Plus, it's just another, like redirect in my day if I have to leave the house for food. And I spend too much money at the store anyway, so it's fine. Um, when I can be home working on something that might possibly bring me some income or possibly bring me a lot of self-care and joy, I would much rather do that than go to the grocery store, right? Or clean my house. You know what I'm saying? So I make it work somehow, you know? I mean, rob Peter to pay Paul to clean the house so that I can do something else. So basically, all the home maintenance and finances, it lands in my box on my big proverbial desk in the sky, right? I have a desk up here in my podcast room, and then I have a desk downstairs. I did that because the downstairs desk is the house desk. That's the concierge desk. That's where I pay the bills and I order the septic to be cleaned and I order Daniel's medications. And up here in my creative space, this is my Julie space. This is my Zen. I have things that I love up here, my music, my flute, my guitar, um, things that just make me feel like me, right? Anyway, when we need a plumber, I call the plumber. When we need an electrician, I get a guy. When I have to remodel a room, I find people to do it. Yeah, so there's just a lot, and sometimes things are on a long list of things to do because Julie doesn't feel like doing it today because she's just if you relate to what means, sending you a virtual hug. All right. So I have a daughter. Her name is Sarah. She is just the love of my life. She's my best friend. She's just incredible. She just graduated from law school. She moved herself out to California, went to law school, and she's working out there. She's got her own little place. But, in the early days when Sarah was looking for college and then eventually Thomas, I was doing all the things that I do, but also helping them to search for schools and apply for financial aid and do all the forms and, the whole transition. Um, helping them manage that, and that was all on me. I did all of that crap, all of that, went to all the meetings, did all the things, and I'm still doing it for Thomas in a sense, but he's also learning just like Sarah did, he's taking more accountability for doing things on his own, which is fantastic. And then there's food in my house. My husband and I live here, so we have to eat, right? I'm not a person who ever really truly enjoyed cooking from the very beginning, you know, um I don't know, it's just not my thing, and that's just me. I used to work full time, and it was just like, but I did start using a meal delivery kit program, not for every single night, but we order, like, 3 or 4 meals from Home Chef, and they come and it makes it easier for us because when it's organized and we have a meal that's, like, measured out and planned and has directions, we'll have that for dinner, whatever it is, right? John has been amazing. Once I started doing the meal kits, he really stepped in to help because he's a quality guy. He's very, very focused. He likes to have directions. And if he has directions, boom, and he knows what he's got to do. But the worst question ever for us is like, what are we going to have for dinner? What are we doing for dinner? And I look at him, he looks at me. We're like, I don't know. So that has taken some of the guesswork out of the stress. Highly recommended it. I've tried a couple different programs. Right now we're using Home Chef. They've all been good, but sometimes you need variety after a while. Um, yeah, he also has started making TikTok recipes off of TikTok. Like, Julie, I have this TikTok recipe I want to try, and I'm like, cool, do it. So he's very sweet, and he knows that I don't enjoy dinner. And the other thing is, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, typically after a long day, my body is hurting again, and my fibro meds are kind of waning down. I'm usually tired, and even standing up is a little tough some days. So that does unfortunately happen to me. So he helps me with dinner, and that's great because I hate it. So, or I'm taking care of Daniel. which could happen too, like if the nurse has to leave or it's after 6 o'clock or something. I do have sometimes, though, friends, where I have days, or not even whole days, like blips, little moments during the days when the reality of the permanence of my situation kind of freaks me out a little because I'm 55 and I'm like, I don't, it's just a little difficult sometimes. I'm making an admission here. It can feel very restrictive to be a caregiver 24/7 for someone else. Uh, it is hard in the sense that you don't really have normal flexibility and freedom to just go. I can't get a job outside of the house. Like, to me, that is like a privilege. Like, I can't do that because I don't have consistency and there's too many other things that have to be done. I tried it, but it was not possible in every way, shape, and form unless I completely outsourced all of Daniel's care, um, which, you know, I am very, 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 much a control freak in a sense that I don't always trust everybody to, you know, out there in the world to do the best or to do the job that I could do for Daniel. So yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. But I'm working on it. I'm working on letting go. And when my headspace goes there, I usually just try to, you know, acknowledge that sense of panic and freak out, eh, and just say, okay, just accept it and try not to judge that moment and like be kind to myself and say, look, it's okay. Um, and I have to welcome space in my day when this happens to just take some deep breaths. And I want you to know I have to express this very, very strongly. It is very, very hard to open up space and to be accepting of a situation that makes you feel freaked out and restricted and stuck. It's a I don't even know the right words to describe it. I mean, there's some big psychological description, but to be able to accept what my circumstances is and to acknowledge how I'm feeling, meaning freaked out, nervous, trapped, whatever that is, stuck. I don't know what like I get this like anxious feeling of like, I'm never gonna get out of here. And then I'm like, no, no, that's not true. I am I just have to stop and like focus on my gratitude journal or focus on good things or just breathe in the space and just I've got better at it, but it's work. It's work that I'm doing every day and it's 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 possible to get there. It's also okay when you freak out, right? It's going to happen. It's just I'm a human being in a highly stressful situation. So anyway, there's also a relationship here in my house. There's a man here who I have been dating for 29 years, or dating, married to for 29 years. We dated in college. We got married in 1992. And relationships take hard work. They need love and care as well. You can't just expect something to be good when you're not working on it, marriage is included. And that's what happens with a lot of relationships is you stop working on it. You lose your emotional intimacy. Uh, you start just disconnecting. You fight a lot, and you have to work on it just like everything else. Your self-care, you need your relationship care. So I schedule date nights and I make sure that we're, focusing on each other and we're very supportive of each other, but we're no stranger to our difficulties. And when things get rough, I schedule time. We have a couples therapist that we talk to sometimes, and she is the best. She's like the best. Um, we're not always the greatest at talking, so it's nice to have a third party who knows us to come in and say, "Hey, you guys, you know, blah 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 blah." We have outside situations that we're dealing with other family members that that affect our situation. It's not just, I'm only talking about life here with me and my family, but there's other family too. So it's not always been easy. It's very challenging. Um, and then there's me. Here I am, Julie. I have really been working very hard to shift over the past year and a half. It's getting better and better every day, I have to say, most days. I have a greater connection to my highest self, I call it. I've learned how to like really go inward when I need to just be connected with the universe or God. I pray. I'm Christian, but a lot of people would say their universal connection or their God or whatever it is that is a deeper sense of you and of your connection spiritually. That's what I'm referring to. But I'm taking care of that side of me. I'm also physically taking better care of myself for the first time in years because I gained a lot of weight a long time ago when I stopped working and gained a little more weight, a lot of stress, a little more weight. And I just wasn't taking care of my health because my fibromyalgia is just so painful that a lot of times, even though you're supposed to do things, you fall into habits. So I did start Weight Watchers early this summer. I'm down almost 20 pounds. I need to lose a total of about 80, 90 pounds to be at my optimum health. So that's not too bad. I started meditating daily, and the meditation, I'm told, helps the cortisone go down. So when the cortisone goes down, this is from, cortisone is created by stress. So if you're in a high anxiety, stressful situation, your body's making cortisone. Cortisone makes you fat. So it's like, I think that that's also linked in to all the things that I'm doing. I'm exercising also when I can. I've discovered that aerobics in the pool. We have a pool here near us, and they have aquasize, they call it. It's a ton of fun. I really enjoy it. It's like me and a bunch of other people in the pool doing exercises. It's hard, but it's easy on my body. So I'm I'm loving that. It's just gets a little bit harder to go and get all wet and in the wintertime, but I mean, it's hot inside there. It's just coming out with wet hair. And yeah, maybe I should just pack a hair dryer. What am I saying? So I have an Apple Watch now, and the Apple Watch tracks my steps and exercising. And so I log that and it connects to my Weight Watchers app. So I keep track of everything and keeping track and journaling. And it's pretty easy. It's part of my daily routine in the morning. So yay me, I'm doing that. It's a positive turnaround that I've done this past year and a half. And I'm sleeping better and doing all that. So, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So we can talk more about, positive ways to make yourself get on a track for healthier life within a stressful situation. I mean, my situation has not changed. It's just I've created more time for self-care because it's possible. So around here, I am the house decorator. I plan. I try to make our home as nice as I can. Everything is old here and old, broken down, bought on Facebook Marketplace, and the floors are in bad shape. The walls have holes. It's just everything needs to be fixed. But I try really hard to make it look nice and keep it clean. Um, so that's kind of my inside life, just spinning my wheels, making sure we're fed, healthy, have all that we need, and everybody's happy and everybody's focused. And I also plan the vacations when we have a vacation. Like sometimes we take Daniel and we go to Florida to a family member has a place there, and she's so generous, and she is just an incredible person. And when we can get to her home, whether it's the one at the Cape or the one in Florida, there's a lot of planning involved in bringing Daniel anywhere, lots of planning. So basically, aside from all of those things that I do, that's a lot. I don't get paid a penny for any of it either. But I have three little jobs, I call them, that I enjoy tremendously. They're creative endeavors, they are joy and passion projects, and they are basically coming to be because of my enlightenment and just you know, trying to discover my purpose, still figuring it out now. But it's this podcast is number one. This Adapted Life podcast is something that I have wanted to do for a while. And I kept saying I'm going to do it. And I made this room, and we titled this room in here where I am the podcast room. It took me a while to actually start recording. Like from when I first started talking about it to when I actually did it was probably a year. I don't know. And so, yeah, this is very important to me. And I'm very excited to reach out to let other caregivers know that, man, you are not alone. I'm right here in it. I'm in it too. It makes my heart happy whenever I sit here and record a podcast episode. Then there's my YouTube channel. It's called Julie Hasselberger, just my name. And I've been uploading content to YouTube for a long time, many years. I am, as they say, a vlogger, V as in Victor, Logger, right? So I'm a vlogger, and basically I pick up my camera and I will videotape or, record different things at different times. Sometimes it's just around the house stuff. Sometimes it's like we went to get the Christmas tree, or Daniel's in the hospital. I'll usually film a lot to kind of document things and whatever it is, right? And right now I have a wonderful community that is growing. I've got 8,420 subscribers. I looked this morning. I don't always look every day, but I was like, whoa. Um, and I believe from my heart that there's just so much value in being able to tell your story and get it out there. Everybody has a story, and everybody has something really profound that it's just really cool when you can share it. Not everybody can, not everybody is out there. I'm a big extrovert, so I have no problem with recording and, you know, doing all that, but maybe somebody will connect to my story, and it will kind of help them feel that they're not alone. And that is really the biggest reason that I do what I do, because I know that I don't like feeling alone, and I have been living in a very isolated state for a long time until I realized that I can change that, right? Even if I'm in the house, I can change feeling alone. So, yeah, whoa, right? My third passion project is Daniel's Special Art Shop, which is on Etsy. It's a little shop, right? So it happened because Daniel and I paint a lot together. We use tactile stuff, a lot of finger paints and goop. And then we started doing finger painting one day and I said, let me use your fingers to make the leaves on the tree. And I would help him guide his finger in, and he would make the leaves on the tree or whatever. And some of the little pictures are really cute. I mean, we're not high quality artists here, but we do our projects out of love, and it's like a collaboration of mother and son, of me helping him, of us creating something, of me creating something with his fingerprint on it, and his blueprint on it. It's just something really cool. So the piles of pictures started piling up, and somebody said to me one day, "Oh, you should try selling some of that." Just so we created the Etsy shop, and for a long time we were just selling 8 by 10 prints of the pictures. And we sold quite a few 8 by 10 prints, but it wasn't something I was like regularly working on because I'm so busy all the time. I didn't always even look at it. And so this year, Dale and I did a couple more pictures, and I was like, how can I, work with, like, I work with it as if it's his vocation, right? So as if it's his little business. And when there's a little bit of profit, we just use the money to buy more paint and canvas and stuff. So, or I'll pick up a new piece of adaptive equipment. Like, I have these little tubes that go over the paintbrushes, that kind of thing. So anyway, this year we started selling more little things like ornaments for Christmas, like some of our Christmas paintings we have on ornaments. And yeah, it has been really taking off. So it's just really fun. So somehow those three things, that's my three things. Uh, Those are my joy projects. And if I can find time to upload to YouTube, to record to the podcast, And one is gonna take, weight over the other at some point, and I anticipate the podcast taking a little bit more weight over the other things, because eventually I would like to start interviewing people and finding sponsors and finding other avenues with this, but for now, I'm just getting it out there so that people become familiar with who I am and what I do. But, you know, we just adapt, we just adapt and go as it is. And so as the Etsy shop got busier, I outsourced a little part of it and it seems to be working out really well. And it's just been a ton of fun watching those sales come in for him and be like, Daniel, it's like $4, another $4, so uh, yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I think it's really cool when you can create a little business out of a fingerprint painting you did with your child, and then all of a sudden, you're just making copies of it, and so people want it, and then you print it on an ornament, and they want that, and it's like, "Thank you." That's just amazing. So, we really didn't have to, like, build a product kinda thing. We just took something that we had, and we turned it into something else. It's just very cool. Anyway, we'll see where that's going. Maybe that's gonna be my thing. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't mean that it isn't hard. It all doesn't mean that I'm not struggling emotionally and financially because out of all of those things that I've described, other than my 3 little jobs, right? I don't get paid any money. I don't have a 401k. I don't have any money going to Social Security. I have no income. And that's really hard for me. But I'm trying to change that. So I'm hoping that by developing my passion, I could turn it into something that I really love doing that will eventually have, financial benefits for my family. Um, so we're just working on things. I actually just started working on a vision board for 2022. I haven't done a vision board in 2 years, and I know how much help they are to manifesting. And so I'm doing that now. Caregiving people like me have the life of somebody else in their hands all day, every day. And yet we also have our own life to life, our own identity, our own purpose. And one can surely lead to the other, and they can be intertwined, of course. But through my constant need to shift and correct, right? To shift, correct, adapt to the plan, adapt my schedule, cancel everything, redo things, reschedule things. Um, I have weaved and bobbed myself closer to a new definition of me. I'm very certain that my experience has a connection universally to other people who are also feeling what I'm feeling, or worse, or better, whatever. But if I can adapt my way into developing creative endeavors to try to connect, then maybe I can help someone else. And maybe someone else can help me. Who knows, right? But maybe there are people who want to share their stories of how they're living their truth and still caregiving. I would love that. I would love to meet them. I go through these times where either I just talk into a voice recorder or I just write and write and write and I let all these words flow. And then I look back and almost always I see a theme of I have overcome and adapted crisis after crisis, emergency after emergency, difficulty after difficulty. And I'm talking about things when I start writing and talking about self-love, highest self, manifestation, learning resilience, developing, creating, being strong, um, financial abundance, visions, goals, the future, the present, mindfulness, love, miracles in the little things. Like as I'm looking up right now, I see snow. I see snow. I see snow falling from the sky on December 8th. I see the smoke from my chimney coming up because there's a fire lit downstairs and it's snowing out. Sorry. That's really beautiful. Where I live in Connecticut, it's so pretty here. It's one of the things. It gets real cold, but the snow is so beautiful, especially this time of year. So, where am I, Julie Hasselberger, going next? Where are we all going next? Who knows? But I'm I am quite confident that in my challenging life, I have become resilient and receptive. It is amazing what can happen when you turn inward and you develop a relationship with your highest self. And in some people, the highest self, that might refer to your relationship with God. With others, it's a connection to the universe, a deeper wisdom, a love that is eternal. Our nature, our natural state as humans is love. I mean, love is like what we are all about. So being able to realize that and to learn that through all of the different things that I'm doing, I mean, that's just pretty cool, right? So generally, although my life is a cuckoo mess of ins and outs, ups and downs, turns and twists, stops and starts, mistakes after mistakes, financial issues, missed appointments, being late, doing things wrong, not showering enough, or just ignoring the outside world in general. My life, which I call crazy salad, and it just is what it is. But that's why I'm here. It's part of the whole thing, right? So, and here, down by my feet, even on my worst days, are always these two little dogs, Holly and Henry. They're my wingmen, wing girl, wingman. I love my dogs. So, what do you think are ways that could help someone adapt to a life of caregiving without losing their identity, sanity, health, their peace, their relationships? Just think about it. And I will see you next time. Thank you for being a part of my adapted life. This is Caregiving with Resilience, and I look forward to continuing to connect with you more next time. Take care.